This is how my game went from this to this. Pretty crazy, right? Right? I've told you everything I did to get here. But before I start, I just want to say that I'm not using a game engine. I'm using Python and Pygame. Let's start with the shaders because it was very difficult and what probably took the second longest to get working. I'll talk about the first one later. Here are some of the funny bugs with them for your viewing entertainment. Seriously though, these were a nightmare to get right, mainly because Pygame services and OpenGL do not mix very well with their render order. So, long story short, thanks to the Fluffy Potato for shader ideas and a little help to get it working, because otherwise this project would probably be abandoned. I had to make everything a OpenGL texture, I think is what it was. I haven't messed with the code in quite a while, and that fixed basically everything. Moving on, the movement is great with wall sliding, wall jumping, and some really cool things that you can get on top of, which I thought was impossible. And I broke the movement about every other commit, but now it is very nice to play with, I think. And also, there's text, which I used the font the Fluffy Potato uses. Once again, a big thank you to him. And it's a class for rendering font. I used it to create the UI and in the world text. I have a custom love letter with some interesting auto tile hacky solutions to get different season tiles work, because there's winter and the game's called autumn fall, so it saves the level as JSON data and is good enough for what I need, so I don't mess with it much. And now for the thing that took the longest to fix: screen sizing and resolution. Basically, if I want the game to keep the same aspect ratio so that the pixel doesn't stretch, it becomes a huge pain. And if anyone can explain why this works, it would be great, because for some reason, Pygame, when going to full screen, creates bars on the side of the screen, and I figured out a little bit when and why, which I've not seen anywhere else on the internet. So basically, when you take, I found out that 1400 by 1050 worked on my monitor for creating the black bars. So when I took 1400 and divided by my screen's length, and then I took 1050 and divided by the height, I get these two decimals. So I figured out that the x and the y for the game's window size divided by those screen heights and width always should get the same decimals, because if you take 1400, which is the number I had for the 1400 by 1050, that was what I had. If you divide those two, you get 1.333 blah blah, which is the same as for the aspect ratio. So it was kind of like a double dividing scenario. I don't really know. It's kind of confusing, but it works. So I'm just going with it, and it's worked pretty good so far. Anyways, I don't know what that was about, but if anyone out there needed that, there you go. So there it is, how I went from a simple game to a nearly full game ready for release. Obviously, still has some flaws, and I'm going to continue development of, but I would say keep a lookout for it on itch.io for sure. On Fall is the name, and I will create a video when it releases, so subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and thank you to Fluffy Potato. Go check him out. He created the base for all of this, and none of this would be possible without him.